An extraordinary bicycle is cruising the streets of European cities. A bicycle equipped with a completely mobile measuring station to analyze the surrounding air for invisible pollutant substances. Like all traffic participants, cyclists inhale so-called particulate matter. The vector bicycle detects these tiny particles. Our story begins in winter 2006 in the Netherlands, where, apart from the weather, the conditions for cyclists are relatively favorable. The government's traffic policy is bike-friendly, and cyclists are allowed to ride their bikes just about anywhere. Nevertheless, they are exposed to negative environmental influences. Like anywhere else, the air contains fine particles, most of them several thousand times smaller than a snowflake, not even visible to the naked eye. They can, however, be measured and documented, which is exactly what the Dutch Cyclists Union has been doing for years in the framework of their Fietsbalans project, with the help of an apparatus developed specifically for this purpose.
Dit is een meetfiets, dit is de Fietsersbond meetfiets en daarmee meten we de kwaliteit van de infrastructuur. In 2006 besloten we dus opnieuw te gaan meten en toen besloten we ook een aantal elementen toe te voegen aan de fietsbalans. Eén daarvan was luchtkwaliteit. De kwaliteit van de fietsvoorzieningen in Nederlandse steden varieert echt enorm, van echt heel goed tot behoorlijk slecht.
Bad results are also bad news for road users, because particulate matter is dangerous. Particles measuring 10 micrometers or less may penetrate the deepest part of the lungs and settle in the alveoli. They may cause lung cancer and other respiratory or heart diseases. Every year, an estimated amount of some 100,000 Europeans die a premature death due to the inhalation of fine particles. The amount of particulate matter contained in the air is typically measured in permanently installed stations, which only register the pollution at one single spot and do not take into account the surroundings, the volume of traffic or the exact road situation. This was the stimulus for the Dutch Fietsersbond to create a new, mobile method of analysis and documentation. The idea for Project Vector is born. And it is launched just a few months later here in the heart of Hamburg. Finding out to what extent people living in urban areas and especially road users are exposed to hazardous fine particles, this is the aim of the Kooperationsstelle Hamburg. As the scientific partners of Project Vector, the members of the Kooperationsstelle are in charge of improving the mobile measurement technology. The centerpiece of their system is a backpack containing two measuring devices. The first records the total quantity of particulate matter in the air, the second the number of particles. Both instruments are breathing.
Die Messgeräte haben einen Schlauch und dieser Schlauch endet in einem Metallteil. Hier werden die Feinstaubpartikel angesaugt.
A video camera is attached to a rod right behind the cyclist. Together with the measured data, the recorded film material is then transferred to a laptop embedded in foam padding for shock absorption. All in all, the equipment costs approximately 50,000 euros and is now ready to be used. The measuring system is hidden in the saddlebags of the Vector bicycle, invisible just like the fine particles sucked in by the air intake nozzle, which are then made visible on the computer screen with the help of Pimax, a special software designed to combine the filmed material and the recorded data. Analyzing the filmed situations and the corresponding data, the scientists can then determine when and why the particulate level increases and what traffic situation caused the increase. This is where the cyclists' federations come in, helping out the scientists with their know-how. In Hamburg it is the German ADFC.
Wir sehen in der Verbildlichung durch das hier angewandte Verfahren ein gutes Mittel, um die Öffentlichkeit aufzurütteln, auch der Automobilindustrie, Verkehrsplanern zu zeigen, wo die Probleme liegen. Man kann aus den aufgenommenen Bildern recht deutlich sehen, welche Spitzenbelastungen entstehen, zum Beispiel wenn Lkw oder auch Mofas oder Mopeds an Radfahrern vorbeifahren. Und man sieht auch, welche Einflüsse unterschiedliche Radverkehrsanlagen haben.
On bike lanes right next to main roads, cyclists are exposed to an exceedingly high level of particulate matter created by motorized traffic, but also by other factors which have yet to be researched.
Wir haben ja hier in Hamburg einmal sehr gute klimatische Verhältnisse. Den Wind merken wir hier auch. Auf der anderen Seite haben wir hier auch den Schiffsverkehr und wir konnten auch nachweisen, dass dadurch relativ hohe Belastungen entstehen.
Budapest, spring 2008. As far as the weather here is concerned, the Vector team needs more than just a little patience.
In dem Moment, wo es regnet, werden die ganzen Feinstaubpartikel aus der Luft rausgewaschen und wir messen einfach nichts mehr. Das ist ein Problem.
The scientists have to wait for dry weather before they can start collecting data in the Hungarian capital. Finally, they set out on their mission on segregated bike lanes by the Danube and amid heavy traffic. Structural barriers can reduce the exposure to particulate matter, but center strips do not always serve as an effective filter.
Da bringen zum Beispiel diese Büsche, die dort sind, gar nichts. Also müssten schon deutlich höher sein.
The instruments in the cyclist's backpack are highly sensitive. The particles are counted by a laser light system. The research team examines the equipment on a regular basis, but the technology delivers optimal performance, just like the commercial quality bike, and riding the streets of Budapest can be quite an endurance test, especially in the tunnels. Here, the three team members detect an extremely high pollution level, 300,000 fine particles per cubic centimeter. This presents a health hazard, hence the sign to warn pedestrians. Inside the tunnel, which is notorious for traffic jams, the air is thick with exhaust fumes. And parallel measurements in the vehicle show that car drivers are almost equally affected by particulate matter. In fact, the duration of exposure is even longer inside the car, while cyclists are quickly back outside in the repeatedly fresh air. But each city has its individual basic level of particulate matter pollution, partly originating from natural sources, partly anthropogenic, mainly by means of combustion. Exhaust fumes, but also tire, brake and carriageway abrasion account for more than a third of man-made particulate matter.
Wir haben hier in Budapest die doch weitaus größten Belastungen feststellen können. Das mag an den Autos liegen, die hier doch relativ alt sind, aber der gesamte Verkehr ist doch erheblich.
Results and videos are uploaded to the Vector website, where they are immediately available to the public. Meanwhile, the next routes are already being planned in the office of the Hungarian Cyclists Federation. Trips along main traffic arteries, but also in quieter residential areas to provide the team with reference values.
Alapvetően Budapesten nagyon jól lehetne biciklizni, ha nem lenne ennyi autó. A fontos lépés, amit a városnak meg kell tenni, hogy nagyon-nagyon sürgősen és nagyon radikálisan csökkentse az egyéni gépjárművel közlekedők számát. Ez a legfontosabb. Ebben várjuk, hogy lépjenek, és reméljük is.
Developing public transport systems is one way to reduce particulate matter pollution in urban areas. However, a sensitive planning of bike facilities is also necessary, but the reality often looks quite different. Bicycle routes are often built right next to busy streets where cyclists are directly exposed to emissions. The mobile measuring system demonstrates in which situations road users inhale particularly large amounts of fine particles.
Und wir haben jetzt feststellen können, dass das, was wir auch schon bei einer anderen Situation vermutet haben, wenn wir den Rucksack sozusagen noch tiefer nehmen, also den Messsensor, dann werden die Belastungen deutlich höher.
More exposure to particulate matter at a lower level, this can mean a higher risk for children. The invisible particles can also be found in places where pedestrians would not expect them, for example here in this underground shopping arcade.
Aber wir nehmen mal an, dass sich hier in dieser Unterführung die Partikel einfach sammeln im Laufe der Zeit und dadurch haben wir eben halt sehr hohe Werte feststellen können. Man muss berücksichtigen, hier arbeiten natürlich auch Menschen und die sind diesen Belastungen tagtäglich ausgesetzt.
On average, the concentration of particulate matter registered in Budapest is 4 times higher than in Utrecht and twice as high as in Hamburg. These results could be used by initiatives concerned with environmental and traffic-related issues to exert pressure on politicians. We meet the organizers of the Critical Mass Bicycle Rally, who know how important it is to make the road users aware of the problem.
Having a car is something like a symbol of wealth. So you have to have one, you have to drive it, and that's why the pollution is very high.
How can cyclists be effectively protected from exposure to particulate matter? This question is also of interest to an international group of traffic experts who came to Budapest to attend a conference. They discuss the first results with the Vector team, and they also talk about the unusual mobile measuring technology, which allows for a reliable determination of particulate matter pollution in any urban area, regardless of the traffic situation, as long as the weather is dry. A press conference in the town hall of Vilnius. Politicians, officials and journalists are stunned at the particulate matter values registered in the Lithuanian capital and at the bicycle that detected them.
Tai manau, kad šiek tiek matosi, kad pasidomėjimas yra ir žurnalistų tarpe, ir dar labiau ekspertų tarpe, kuriems trūksta daugiau informacijos ir kad čia problema, kurią rūpi visiems.
For the students and scientists at the Kooperationsstelle in Hamburg, Vilnius is the last stop after Utrecht, Hamburg and Budapest. All in all, the research team has covered some 400 kilometers by bike and generated more than 20 hours of filming material. Now it is time to return to Germany for a final evaluation. The results demonstrate which road users generate the biggest share of particulate matter. Diesel engines, for example, produce 3.5 times more particles than petrol-driven cars, while soot filters or natural gas engines, for example in city buses, can considerably reduce the particulate output. Construction sites also account for a large amount of particulate emission. To make matters worse, existing particles are swirled up time and again due to road traffic. But each city can protect cyclists from particulate matter, for example by building segregated bicycle lanes like here in Amsterdam, but also by introducing speed limits or intelligent traffic light intervals for the motorized traffic. In addition, it helps to create cycling routes following quiet, less frequented side streets. These and other results of the Vector project are gathered here in this building at Amsterdam University by the staff in charge of knowledge transfer at the IFAM agency. IFAM carries out studies and provides advice on sustainable urban development. It initiated the Vector project and is now preparing to present the impressive results to the general public.
Pictures are much more convincing than texts, and we have been telling people that particles are bad to their health for years, but I think it really makes a difference when they see it themselves.
For the first time, the video, filmed from the perspective of the cyclist, is presented to a group of scientists and university lecturers from all over Europe. Factors like the passing moped, which causes the particulate matter output to soar, but also the documented high pollution level in the tunnel, will no doubt leave a strong impression on viewers.
I think it's extremely important to visualize a problem of this kind in such a way. So I appreciate it very much.
That's actually something somehow enlightening to know that, actually if you're sitting in the car, it doesn't really help.
But can the vector images also motivate politicians to take action? The prospects are good, as Fietsbalans, the predecessor project, shows.
Het was een eye-opener voor heel veel politici en maatschappelijke organisaties dat het autoverkeer en met name de brommen zoveel fijn stof uitstoten dat het echt gevaarlijk is voor fietsers, maar ook voor automobilisten. De boodschap van de Fietsersbond Nederland was van leg gescheiden fietspaden en zorg ervoor dat de uitstoot van brommers wordt teruggebracht.
Hopefully, Vector will help to prepare the ground for similar measures all over Europe. In any case, the European Commission co-financed the international project, and it is striving more than ever to support sustainable mobility in urban areas. The European Cyclists Federation (ECF) supports this development, and it considers the results of the Vector project as a good basis for more specific demands.
Air pollution in the cities is one of the main issues for the livability for the people in the cities, and there is only one solution: to cut the use of individual motorized vehicles. And on infrastructure, the European Commission can develop subsidy programs to help cities and regions to invest in the right direction, and maybe aspects from the Vector project should be a part of this program.
It seems we still have a long way to go before a significant reduction in particulate matter emission from motorized traffic can be achieved. However, the Vector team will continue to collect data with the aim of finding out how the particle output can be reduced and how cyclists can be better protected in specific situations. So, watch out for them on the roads of your hometown.